Despite what all the fancy thumbnails and vlog trips and outlandish lifestyles of rented Lambos and other things you see on the internet, remaining yourself is the number one easiest way to attract dream clients into your business, to have a sustainable business, and to actually make it through the fear walls that come up when anybody is trying to either scale or take after a business. And today I want to share with you all the things that I've learned and why it is so critical that you remain yourself, and kind of what happened when I didn't do that and what happened when I did. So before we get started, if you don't know who I am, my name is Arias Williams. I am the Change Co. I help entrepreneurs get out of their own way professionally so that way they can attract their dream life and get through the fear walls that come up when we try to do that. Now, inside right here is just a couple of wins from the group. Inside, we got Ariana manifesting and getting very tapped into that feeling of living in the end. John is getting some drafts pumped out for social media. The same thing, Mr. Inked Beard, our boy Chad, who we just did the client success interview with, is finally getting some new followers and some new customers reaching out. Tracy from over the pond. Ariana's like testimonial. We got it all, right? But it didn't always start this way. And I want to go back exactly 10 years ago to a time in my life that I'm not the most proud of, or at least I wasn't for a very long time. You see, in this picture, I am inside the hospital at the age of 19 years old after a very fun night with some extracurricular activities that allowed me to miss out on 8 hours of my life. And I woke up at the end of that 8 hours, pictured below, as you see, having absolutely no idea where I am. This is one of my fraternity brothers, Trey. Trey, if you're watching this video, shout out to you, bro, for being a real one and taking me there. But what we have here is kind of the first time I gave up my identity of self in order to fulfill a vacuum or a hole that I was feeling as a person. I wasn't a business owner. I was just a college kid. And in that time, and I've talked about this before on the channel, I had no real mission. That is because I went through my own fear wall when I was in high school. I didn't know what fear walls were. I had no personal development. So what happened is I had kind of went through life acting as if and living in a certain state of being. And then when I was doing that, I received a negative result, okay, which at the time was this relationship that I was caring so deeply about falling over. And when that happened, it began to leave a vacuum, a big space of emptiness where I no longer felt like I had this sense of self, because I had for a long time tied that sense of self into this relationship, into the future of that relationship, so on and so forth. You can get the point. So when I did that, I had to step back and realize like, oh, I don't have a mission at all. So what happens if you don't know? I went to college, I got around a fraternity, and while it was one of the best decisions I ever made, I had no purpose. And when you have no purpose, you will allow anything to fill it. And so one night, seemingly just having fun like we always did, I went and indulged in some sort of extracurricular activities and woke up in this hospital bed, very confused, looking at a nurse, wondering why I was there and not in my apartment room. And then beyond further than that, I then would proceed to get in trouble for the first time, having a record. I would then lose my financial aid and have to drop out of college and get suspended and removed from the fraternity that at the time was my life. So in this area, it was a very traumatic and difficult experience. And I only bring it up because the main reason and the main lesson I learned from all of this was that if you are not careful and you allow other people's mission to predominantly run your own, you may have effects that aren't necessarily what you wanted. Now, I'm a big believer in no coincidences, and I am very firm in that if this had not happened to me, potentially things had been different. So I like to believe that this is exactly what I needed. Could it have been a little easier? Maybe, if I had learned the lesson prior. However, when I took this, I took my L, as they would say, moved back home, got back into regular life, and started to then go back to La La Land and to believe that I would be the same like everybody else, that I would get older, get married, have a kid, have no type of aspirations or dreams whatsoever, just work a regular job, which at the time was a serving position. This is where I would meet my now wife. And the reason I'm telling you all of this is because even though I had this massive failure in my life where I woke up, had everything I was working for removed, I then found and bounced back from the bottom. So if you are in a position where it's kind of like rock bottom, where it kind of feels like nothing's really going your way, like the walls are caving in, like the universe is conspiring against you personally, you may want to take a moment to pause and look around at the lesson. Because one of the biggest lessons I learned here was that I had no purpose of self. I didn't have a mission. My only mission was with what my fraternity brother's mission was, which was to find honey dips, take a plan of action, and enjoy some extracurricular activities, which ultimately led me to this decision here. So what happens once you get things a little bit figured out? Maybe you're not a young person and you're a business owner, okay? You're doing well. This is me at the age of around 23 or 24, training on personal development for the multi-level marketing company that I was a part of at that time. Now, this was, again, one of the single greatest decisions I ever made to join this company, because it allowed me to go from the negative feelings that I was feeling from this failure over here to into an immediate place of value where I could offer and help people out with their mindset, where I began to learn the beginnings and operations of sales and how to present properly and how to network with people you don't know. Like, I learned everything from this opportunity. And for a long time, it also gave me that sense of self. It also made me believe that I was acting in my most authentic version of myself. And so while that was still true and still resonating, I was able to take that opportunity, get to the top 10% of the company, open up my first brick and mortar location, went on to do 6 figures that year. I've traveled across the world with the company. I've spoke on stage for over 1,000 people. And honestly, it has did so much for me in what I wanted to do with my life. Now, is this a message to go join multi-level marketing? What I'm doing? No. What I'm telling you is that I was given another sense of self. And as we know from the last time, that usually has a bad ending when it's not our own version, when it's not who we really are, the little kid on the inside, the person that you don't have to hide from. The person that when you speak inside your own voice, I want you to do me a favor, pause what you're doing right now and say the word apple without saying it out loud. 1, 2, 3. The person who predominantly is speaking when that voice is being heard. That version of you, even if you're doing well, maybe financially your business is doing well, you have a job that pays you really well, right? You have the golden handcuffs. If you're being inauthentic to that voice inside your head, you will have negative consequences. And just like in college, with this business opportunity, I went from making more money than I ever made in my life to eventually running up into the point where my authentic self was realizing this is not where I wanted to be long term. This is not what I wanted to do forever. And so then there was a disresonance. And then that happens to do what? Then I stop taking action. Why? Because I don't feel inspired, or because I don't understand what's going on. I didn't know that, oh, this is just a fear wall because I'm not aligned. I'm not living in my vision. I'm not living in the end. And if I do, when I do, everything will be flowing and I won't be burnt out. I won't have that overwhelm. And so what happened is my business, my brick and mortar location went down. I had to bounce up. My team then went up. We shot up to the top 10%. But I came across this weird phase where I was making more money than I ever made. I had accomplished pretty much everything I set out to do inside of Herbalife, but it didn't feel right. And it didn't feel like this is what I wanted to do. This is nothing against the company. It just was, I didn't see myself continuing this path for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Right? I wanted to do something that was going to be authentic to who I am. I wanted to do something. And again, maybe these were limiting beliefs and I could have been this in this side of this company. But here's what happened when I decided to get real. When I decided to be my real self, which you guys might laugh. This is my real self. Okay. Just as you guys see the rag of Akatsuki on my head and you see the different anime references in our content, and you see, if you look closely, the anime tattoos that I have. Being an anime nerd, helping other humans, talking to people, having my dreads out, going to the beach, laughing, joking, these are the most critical core memory parts of me and who I am. And for the longest time inside that other business, in my other life, when I was younger, in the fraternity, in high school, I never thought or felt that that version of myself was A, worth it, B, enough, or C, capable of achieving the things that I wanted to achieve. You see, unfortunately, early on in my entrepreneurial journey, I received some terrible advice. I received advice from people who had lived their life like a soldier, blindly following orders. I had received from those people that I needed to be closer to them in order to reach my goals. This is not the case. Who you are, the exact way that the universe or God or whoever you want to say created you, is exactly who you need to be for the person in your business to come and find you. Your dream clients are not like the people that are successful. They're like you. And this was really hard for me to unlearn. And if you have a service-based business, especially, I want you to understand this. You don't need to look like a certain person, sound like a certain person, dress like a certain, talk about the same things, make your content the same way in order to be successful. In fact, if you try to blindly copy people without all the other context to who they are as a human, you will fail and you will get half the results that they do, even if you don't. So what I learned inside my business was, as soon as I went back to who I am, and I took this picture on the beaches of Anna Maria Island, messing around, trying to imitate my favorite character, Luffy, in Gear 5 mode, when I realized that if I speak from a place of authenticity about what I really want to help people with, even with these videos, right? I have a couple pictures, I don't do the notes because it's coming from the place of who I am now, today, and who this is. And when you do that, your business will explode. Why? Because you'll be talking with other people who are all the way behind. The biggest limiting belief that sometimes business owners hold is that there isn't enough people who are just like them to buy and enjoy and love your product or service. You don't have to be like somebody you are not in order to be successful. You do need to be, however, the best version of who you are. You do not get to just show up in base form and expect the 10th level of results, okay? If you guys have big aspirations inside your business life or health or relationship, you cannot wish for the best without first putting your best effort. It's called frustration. Jim Rohn talks about it. It's probably the most frustrating thing you could do, trying to have an above average life with above average pay and above average car without becoming an above average person. It just doesn't make sense. But you'll never be able to hit that full version of yourself if you're practicing means of getting there that are inauthentic to who you are. So there's a lot to process with this video, but the underlying message you need to learn is that your business does not need another one of your mentors or another one of Andrew Tate or another person that you see on the internet doing really well. Your business needs you. And in order for you to show up, you have to get through the fear walls. And in order to get through the fear walls, we need to have a mental health practice. And in order to have that, if you don't, you can book a call below with me, and we will help you not only create this entire system of keeping your mental health and personal development aligned so your business can go on to make the impact it deserves. Look, this is the best part. When I started to act like this, and only when I started to act like this, is when everybody else came. All these different clients that have come through the program from all over the world that we've been able to help with self-sabotage, they would have missed out if I continued down this path, if I continued down this path, because neither one of these paths, while they had benefits, while they both helped my life move forward, while I don't regret either one, they were not the final destination. They were not authentic to who I am. Now inside True Diamond Mindset, we're doing exactly that. We're serving people who we're supposed to. And if you are still watching this video, I think that's you. I think that you have a service or business or idea that needs to get out to the world, or otherwise this wouldn't have made it. Look, I'm not even famous. This is a low view video probably when you're watching it. So if you made it through all of this and you are fired up right now, I want you to book a call below and learn more. We'll get you inside of our True Diamond Mindset program so we can help you not only build and fortify that means of practicing, staying authentic and being able to get through the fear wall, but also so you can have a community of support behind you as you go on to make more and more impact. Peace, love, and prosperity. I'll see you guys on the next one.